I had to take my hoodie off because this job makes me sweat a lot more than I thought it would. Collecting books is a hobby. Don't let anybody tell you different, okay? Any guesses what my total is? Hello, sweet friends, and welcome back to my channel. Go ahead and grab your comfy, cozy sweaters, maybe get a drink, settle in, because we are here for the long haul. So for today's video, I thought it would be really fun to add my entire physical TBR to one of these random wheel generators, because there are so many books on this shelf that I would really love to read, but I'm just not drawn to picking them up. And sometimes I need a little bit of a push. And every once in a while, you can find a gem of a book on here that you read the back of it and you were like, okay, that sounds like my kind of book. You put it on your shelf and it sits there forever because you either forget about it or you're just not in the mood for it. And like I said, sometimes you just need the universe to tell you it's time to pick up the damn book. Me personally, I've mixed my shelves so that both my books that I have read and then books that I have not read are on the shelf, because I used to do it where I had a physical TBR cart, but I'm not going to lie to you guys, my TBR cart ran out of room. And then my shelves were looking kind of empty. So then it was just like, whatever, let's just throw them all on the shelf together. But then also sometimes that gets in the way of me remembering what books I have on the shelf that I haven't read. So I'm going to be taking you along with me as I scour through my shelves. You're kind of getting like a mini shelf tour also, because you'll see some of the books that I do have on my shelf that I have read and the ones that I haven't read. And then I thought we would pick a book at the end of this video from the wheel generator to see what we should add to our TBR this month. Okay, so this section of my shelf right here is my book of the month books, and then kind of like my hard cover fantasy books is in this general realm. We have Broken Country by Clara Leslie Hall, First Time Caller by B.K. Borson, Immortal Consequences by Ivy Marie, Red City by Mary Lou, An Academic Affair by Jodi McAllister, We Who Will Die by Stacey Stark. I cannot wait to get into this book, you guys. It's high on my TBR. So now I'm going to settle in and we're going to add these books to the wheel. I have series that I have more than one book in that I haven't read. So my plan for that when I add them to the TBR is I'm just going to put the first book in the series so that the random wheel generator doesn't accidentally pull the second book in a series or third book if I've only read like book 1 or book 2. Does that make sense? So in this pile we have Arcana Academy by Elise Kova, Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levenseller. I have book 1 and book 2. The Foxglove King by Hannah Witten, Night of the Witch by Sarah Rosh and Beth Revis, The Neverlist by Jade Presley, The Games God Play by Abigail Owen, Sanctuary of Shadows by Aurora Asher, Sweet Nightmare by Tracy Wolff, A Fate Inked in Blood by Danielle L. Jensen, House of Marion by J.L. I have book 1 and book 2, Never Keep by Caroline Peckham and Suzanne Valenti, and Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare. I have book 1 and book 2. Night in the Moth by Rachel Gillig, and Firebird by Juliet Cross. This book intrigues me so much, you guys. I think the cover is absolutely gorgeous and the sprayed edge as well. And I never see anybody talking about this book. Moving on to the next section. So a lot of these are series that I have already read, but there are a few on here where, like the Carissa Broadbent series, The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I had read 2 of them on my Kindle, but then I purchased the physical copies and some of the novellas in between. So I feel like this is a series that I would like to do a reread of. So I am going to put the first book in this series in the wheel because, like I said, I want to do a reread of the series to be able to do all of the novellas and all the connected series. And it's been a few years since I ever read that particular series, so it was one I really enjoyed and I would definitely love to do a reread of. So on this shelf we have Lightlark by Alex Astor, To Kill a Shadow by Catherine Quinn, Swordheart by Kay Kingfisher. Shout out to my Quicksilver girly. Fall of Ruin and Wrath by Jennifer L. Armentrout. The Liar's Crown by Abigail Owen. The Coven by Harper L. Woods. I have book 1 and book 2. Fallen Stars by Imani Erui. Now this, I just finished Heavenly Bodies. So this will definitely be going on an immediate TBR for next month. So she will not be going in my random wheel generator because I do plan on picking this up in February to read. Throne of Secrets by Carrie Maniscalco. The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. And The Everlast by Alex E. Harrow. This little section down here, but it is full of like dark romance series, some that I have finished and some that I have not. So in this pile we have Bourbon and Secrets by Victoria Wilder, Fabric of Our Souls by K.M. Moranova, Green Light by Jessie Hall, Monarch by Sophie Lark, There Are No Saints by Sophie Lark, The Kingmakers, Year One by Sophie Lark, Cruel King by Rena Kent, Distance Beneath the Mask by Luna Mason, Filthy Rich Vampires by Geneva Lee, Caught Up by Nemessa Allen, Corrupt by Penelope Douglas, Wolf by Paisley Hope, Dear Reader by Tate James, Gothicana by Runix, Insatiable by Lee Rivers, and Hate by Tate James. Okay, you guys, we are making progress. We are onto the third section of my bookshelf. Basically, moving forward is a mixture of series that I have started or that I'm in the middle of. So I will not be pulling every single book on the shelf, but just the ones that I need to read next. So we're starting off strong with Metal Slinger by Rachel Schneider. Now, I literally have been holding off on this book because of the cliffhanger people say that comes at the end. I wanted to be able to pick up the second book right away. So a lot of these books on the shelf are like that, where it's the first in the series. I know it's going to be a series that I'm going to devour. And when they only have one book out, I'm like, well, I'm going to forget by the time the second book comes out. So I'm just going to hold off. We have Beautiful Villain by Rebecca Kenny, Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, Dark Birch Academy by Krista Gray, Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber, Caraval by Stephanie Garber, Broken Bonds by Jay Bree, The Veiled Kingdom by Holly Renee, Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angeles, Pestilence by Laura Thalassa, How Does It Feel by Janine O'Reilly, and Belladonna by Adeline Grace. The Wolf King by Lauren Palfreyman. I don't know if I said that right, but this is also high on my want to read list. So I'm going to be pulling this one out because it's probably going to be an immediate read soon. Now this shelf is mainly the Plated Prisoners series. Glint is next up for me to read, and obviously the rest of those books are on there. That's one of the series that I'm determined to finish this year, so I'm not bothering to put it in the wheel because she's going to get read. Also, these candles are the non-flame battery operated candles. I absolutely love them. They give the perfect ambiance in here when I'm reading, and you can run them from a remote, and I love how they flicker like actual candles. So I will link these in the caption below. So if you're interested in adding them to your shelves, you can. Okay, so on this shelf, we have Between Two Kings by Lindsay Straub, A Touch of Gold and Madness by K.L. DeVore, Blood and Betrayals by Jeanette Rose and Alexis Rune, The Book of Azriel by Amber V. Nicole, Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller, A Magic Deep and Drowning by Hester Fox, Hunt on Dark Waters by Katie Robert, The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. You have no idea how many times I have wanted to unhaul this series, but I feel like it's going to be a series that I'm actually probably going to love because my reading tastes have evolved. So that's why she has stayed on the shelf, even though there are multiple times that I did want to get rid of her. Rule of the Aurora King by Nisha J. Tooley. This is the second book in the Trial of the Sun Queen series, and obviously I'm on book 2. The Bell Witches by Lindsay Kelk, and On Wings of Blood by Briar Bolin. Now, I'm so sad that you can't get these in paperback anymore. That's the other problem that I have with the publishing industry, is when they're indie published, they come in paperbacks, and let's be honest, we're all paperback girlies, really. Hardcovers are just a nuisance when you're trying to get comfy and reading. And so that's another reason why I haven't wanted to pick up this series in particular, because I feel like I will like it, but in order to read book 2, I would then need a hardcover, and it just doesn't match with the aesthetic of my paperback, you know? Or is it just me? We have now exited the fantasy part of my shelves, and we have entered into our contemporary romance section. So this is all fluffy sports romance. Oh, never mind. There are a few more fantasy ones here, but it's mostly contemporary romance. We've got a very large pile here. We have The Dixon Rule by Elle Kennedy, Throttled by Lauren Asher, Angry God by LJ Shin, Unravel Me by Becca Mack. Now I'm going to pause here because I read Consider Me and Play With Me, and I DNF'd Play With Me because I literally, I could not. But I'm really hoping, because I literally bought the entire series, you guys, because hockey romance, how could you go wrong? How could you not like that genre, especially as a Canadian who loves watching hockey? But the first book was so-so. The second book, I didn't even make it 30% of the way through. So I'm really hoping that this will be a redemption book in that series. Blockshot by Kennedy Ryan, Heated Rivals by Katie Robert, Love Redesigned by Lauren Asher. I know, the fact that this is on my shelf and I have not read this, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover, Too Late by Colleen Hoover, The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker, Mistakes We Never Made by Hannah Brown, Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan, ooh, City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards. I'm literally so scared to pick up this book, you guys, because look at how thick it is. All of the books in the series are like this. So that's why it's sitting on my shelf, because I'm just too scared to commit to this giant book. Blood of Hercules by Jasmine Mass, Circe by Madeline Miller. Please don't be mad at me if I say this wrong, but Psyche and Eros by Luna McNam. Oh my gosh, you guys. By Luna McNamara. Obviously, we will be making sure that we read the proper pronunciation for the names of these when it's time to read it. And lastly, Neon Gods by Katie Robert. I have a lot of contemporary romances, but I love a good dark romance, a good epic romantasy fantasy book. This genre doesn't always get as much love on my shelf as it used to when I started my reading journey. I had to take my hoodie off because this job makes me sweat a lot more than I thought it would. We have Indigo Ridge by Devony Perry. We have Steel King by Devony Perry. Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. Travis by Mia Sheridan. Wilder by Rebecca Yarros. The Naturals by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. The Revenge Game by Jordan Taylor. One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McManus. Burning Daylight by Emily McIntyre. Burn Bright by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I'll Always Be With You by Monica Murphy. Mr. Fixer-Upper by Lucy Score. Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. The Other Brother by Tierney Page. Promise Me Not by Megan Brandy. Seven X's by Lucy Vine. Daddy Issues by Kate Goldbeck. The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. Slow Dance by Rainbow Rowell. And Pack Darling, The Complete Duology by Lola Rock. I believe this is the last pile that we're going to enter into the wheel. The Ravenhood Legacy, Severed Heart by Kate Stewart. One Last Rainy Day by Kate Stewart. Through the Dust by Amber Palmer. Saving Six by Chloe Walsh. Love Light Farms by BK Borson. I tried to read this book last December, but I just ran out of time for it. And all of the other books are very much like spring-like books from the vibes of the covers, but hopefully I don't spin it until the end of this year. Funny Feelings by Tara DeWitt. This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune, and Meet Me by the Lake by Carly Fortune. I feel like these are, I don't know if her books are all connected because I have read Every Summer After and One Golden Summer, which revolves around the two brothers, but I don't know if these two books are related to one another. So I'm just going to put both of them on the wheel. Book Lovers by Emily Henry. Funny Story by Emily Henry. Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. And last but not least, Not in Love by my favorite, Ali Hazelwood. So you guys, I have a whopping 120 physical books to wrap up this wheel. Obviously, that's not all of the physical books because there are some books that I have a good chunk of the series in. So we're probably looking at, I have a little bit over 140 unread books on my shelf, but collecting books is a hobby. Don't let anybody tell you different, okay? The other thing I thought that I would do is I do have a lot of books on my Kindle as well that I've downloaded when it's like a stuff your Kindle kind of deal, or I subscribe to BookBub newsletters. So that is a site where you get daily emails that shares books that go on sale, specifically ebooks, and then they share the link and then you can go and find it at wherever that link is. That's been really great to find some not super popular books. You can curate it to whatever genres you like to read. So the recommendations are always going to be books from genres that you know you love. So I might as well go ahead and put those into my wheel as well. Okay, you guys, after inputting all of the books that I had on my Kindle, any guesses what my total is? 158 books that I have unread that I have either purchased with my own money or downloaded for free on my Kindle. So needless to say, I must really like books. This just puts in perspective that I do have a lot of books that I need to try and make my way through before I add too many more to my shelf. But will I ever stop buying books? No, because again, buying books is just as much of a hobby as reading books. Now, the moment you guys have all been waiting for, I am going to spin this wheel because I'm doing pretty good on the TBR that I have picked for myself for January. Here is the link to the TBR video where you can see all of the books that I've picked for that month, what I'm doing with my Patreon book club, the challenges that we're doing, all of that fun stuff. But there's definitely room in the month still to add probably one more book, and why not add it based on what the wheel decides that I should read. I have a link now in my phone that I can use to spin it, and I will always have access to it no matter where I am. So I don't always need my laptop to be able to do it. So let's record this so you guys can see, and we're gonna go ahead and spin the wheel to see what book I'm going to be reading. She's like, girl, you got a lot of books on here. I'm so scared. You guys get to see first. Oh my gosh, that title looks really long. The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. So apparently we are going to be starting off by doing a reread of a book that I've already read. But again, like I said in this video, I want to do a reread of the series so that I can go into all of the novellas and like the interconnected series or interconnected books that she has in that world. So apparently it is time to dive back into Serpent and the Wings of Night. I will link the wheel picker that I use because this one's really cool. You can save this so that you can either go back and edit it, or you can send it out to a guest. So you could create a fun wheel share TBR thing with your friends, and you can share it with one another to pick books from, which I think is so cool. But what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding little TBR slips to my TBR jar that says spin the wheel. And if I pull one of those cards from the TBR jar, then I will come and pick a book from the spinny wheel. And as I get more books on my shelf, I will add them to the wheel, and I will also take books off after I've read them or update. If I've read book 2 in the series, then I will go in and add book 3 into this generator. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed your time with me kind of doing a mini tour of all the books that I have on my shelf. Make sure if you're not doing so already, you subscribe, because I would love to see and chat with all of you guys on this platform a little bit more. And I hope whatever book that you're reading today brings you some joy. Bye guys.